Good morning. Good morning. It is Friday, October 4th, and grab your coffee. It's time for your Java with Jay. So, today is National Taco Day. And I was talking to my daughter Abby, and she's like, Dad, it can't be National Taco Day. It's not a Tuesday. So, very insightful. So, thank you, Abby, for that. You will have noticed I have missed the last couple of days. It's been a crazy week around here. Monday, I was out of town doing some work and flew in really late. I had every intention of jumping on because Tuesday, actually, Wendy, my wife, flew out to California for a conference, and she was gone the rest of the week. So I've been on Abby duty each morning, and that it takes its time and had to deal with those issues every morning. So, unfortunately, Java with Jay was put on the back burner. So, I'm here today. I'll be here next week. Wendy's coming home late on Saturday, so I know she's having a lot of fun out in Anaheim. She went to the beach, checked out the Pacific, learning at the Burn conference that she's at. So it's a lot of good stuff from her end. She's excited. I'm excited for her. And, just looking forward to her getting home and having her back with us. So yesterday, we got to spend some time with one of our clients. They had an issue at their office some time back, and they ended up having a flood and had to replace their flooring. And the client happens to be an interior designer, and it's Eric Horner Interiors, EHI, for those of you out there that follow the three-letter acronyms. So they had an issue, and they have a number of great partners. Their flooring partner came in, quickly replaced all their floors and took care of it. They didn't like what their office looked like, so they literally ripped everything out and started over. And yesterday was the unveiling. So luckily, calendars worked out really well, and we were able to get out there. Was happy to get over there. And it's not usual that my calendar works out that I can do events like that, but I was glad we can do that and had a lot of fun. So Eric, looked great. Glad to see you. Got to spend some time with you and Annette and Hannah there. So that was great. Thank you. And thanks for the coffee too. Thank you very much. So switching. My topic listed there today was I want to thank Freshbooks. So let's have a little ground story here and a little backstory. So had a client that came to me last year after Xero announced that they were sunsetting payroll, and they wanted to reduce their cost because they were not happy with the cost of having to spend $30 on Xero and 40 some odd dollars a month on Gusto. So it's a two-owner S corp. They need to have the payroll. So they did some research. They came up with FreshBooks, and I'm like, I'm not going to fight you on that. If you want to make that change, that's your decision. These are my objections. This is what I think. And secondly, I'm not going to help you through that transition. I am not going to do the conversion, and I'm not going to help you because we are not a FreshBooks shop. We do not use it. We are a Xero shop and a Xero shop only. So with that said, client comes back and asks us for some help. I'm like, I truly can't help, but we will still do their tax returns. We can pull the data out, and that's great. Using reports, we do that all the time with other tax platforms and do that. So looking at the P&L and balance sheet in FreshBooks, and now finally they do have a balance sheet. But if you read the disclaimer at the bottom, it is still in beta. So they've rewritten their platform and released a balance sheet in FreshBooks version 2, but it's still in beta. I mean, come on. You put out a product, you're going to do that and label it beta? It's a balance sheet. This is something that is required for every business to have, and the number one knock on you previously was you didn't have a balance sheet and then you come out half-heartedly with it. So, okay, that's great. So I'm looking at it and I'm trying to look at the distributions that the clients have taken. Click on it and guess what? No drill downs. So I couldn't look at how that was broken down, which partner took what, because of course it's just going into one account, so I can't see the difference. And I want to see the detail. Well, you can't. There's no drill down in there. So, strike two. All right, so what do I do when I'm preparing taxes and I'm looking at the balance sheet in Xero? I go to the layout editor, I drop in a second column and a variance column. Very easily, takes 10 seconds to do it. All right, maybe 30 seconds. But drop that in there, great. I click on the settings in FreshBooks. It has comparative information in there. I put in the date, 12/31/18, click OK, report doesn't change. There's no comparative information in there. Does not help one bit. So, all right, I got to switch over to the income statement because I'm trying to help the client make sure they're doing reasonable salaries. I'm looking at all that. So, go in there, and it's displaying month by month throughout the year, but I want to look at the year to date. Well, there is no year to date option. The only options you have are monthly or quarterly. It does throw in a year to date column, but when you're doing financial statements, and again, when I'm doing taxes, I like to have the 2 years and a variance column so I can see the change. Nothing there. So again, reporting sucks. And it might be because I've just gotten used to using the Xero layout editor and it's just so easy to use. But I gotta say, thank you, FreshBooks. And you're saying, well, why are you thanking FreshBooks? Well, if it wasn't for FreshBooks back in 2012, I would never have found Xero. And that is the key. So for those of you that don't know that story, a client came to me in June of 2012. They're using FreshBooks to do their billing and to do the contractor hours so they could bill out those hours to their clients. Well, at that point, I'm like, okay, we'll find you. They came to me, said, we need a GL package for that to hook up so they can get financials. So at that point, I jumped in there and started looking at some accounting software. And there were 2-3 players at the time, QBO, Xero, and a package called Cashew. I jumped into Cashew first. I don't know why. I think because the name was kind of catchy. But I settled on Xero because after getting into it, I just liked how it worked. The integrations were really easy to set up. And remember, this is 2012. Nobody in the US had heard of Xero at that point. And here I am, found it, fell in love with it. And by the middle of July, I was knee deep in Xero at that point. So that's basically how that happened. So I got to say thank you to FreshBooks for introducing me to Xero. And, you know, FreshBooks, keep on being that great billing platform that you are. Although I will say now that Xero has the auto pay feature, we can process credit cards through Stripe and we don't miss a beat. That was the only reason I was using FreshBooks at the time. But, you know, I connected it to Xero at that point and, you know, the rest is history. But are you using FreshBooks out there? I want to know. Go ahead and make a comment that, yes, I am using FreshBooks. If you are using Xero, I want to know that. If you're using QBO, just go ahead and make a comment. Let's know what you're using, and let's have a conversation around that. What features do you love about your accounting package that make you love it so much and use it? Whether you're a small business owner, an accountant, bookkeeper, whatever you are, I want to know what you're using. So, enough of my rant. I am going to get on with my Friday, and I am really looking forward to this weekend. We have playoff baseball. Sad to see the Cubs knocked out, they were knocked out before the season ended. But apparently they hadn't won a game since I was at Wrigley 2 weeks ago. So, for whatever that's worth. But good to see the Rays take the wild card and take on Houston. I was a huge Rays fan, but I have an allegiance now to Houston, so we'll watch that carefully. I'm gonna sit the fence and see what happens there. So, it's gonna be fun. I'm just a fan of the game at this point. Want to watch all that. We're gonna take in this weekend's football action. NASCAR is into the Cup Series is now into the second round of the playoffs. I mean, if you did not see the Roval last week at Charlotte, it was incredible. Makes me truly want to get out there and start racing again. I love it. And when I say again, I've never raced professionally, but I've always wanted to. And that's one of those things about me. I mean, I'm a gearhead to the core. So, all right. So with that, I am going to finish my cup of coffee and get on with my day. Everybody, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday. Take care, everybody.